Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, a channel dedicated to games set in the Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and today we've got a real treat. We have Peter with us today. G'day, Peter.
Morning.
Now, Peter's come all the way up from Swindon this morning to be with us today, which is really great. And you brought a lovely Iron Hands army for us, haven't you?
Yes.
You brought a Mastodon.
I did. Very freshly painted.
Yes.
First time on the table, so first game rules will probably apply.
Oh, for the debut going on.
Yeah. So whether it survives or not was in a lap of the dice gods, I guess.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to try and take it, but my experience of playing Mastodons is that just ignore them, you know. Melter's fine, but you got to deal with the guys inside. That's the critical thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you're from Swindon.
Yep.
And you contacted me and said, "Hey, I'd love to come and have a game," and here we are. We've set it up for you.
Yeah.
It was a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah,
2-3 weeks. Great. And that goes to anyone out there. You know, if you've got a great army and you'd love to come on the channel and either face myself and the Mechanicum or one of the other players or even a friend of yours that you've got, then just send me an email at the30kchannel@gmail.com and we'll try and set it up as we've done for Peter today. So we'll try our best. Now, you also belong to a club in Swindon, is that right?
Yeah, Swindon Wargamers and Tactics. Local club. Quite small but very well populated, and we play a bunch of different stuff. 30k, 40k, and some other systems as well.
Yeah, so a bit of X-wing.
Yeah, lots of variety, X-wing and cool. Sigma and all kinds of, and lots of age groups. So it's quite a well balanced, friendly bunch.
Good. So if you are in the Swindon area, you can contact. You've got a Facebook page and a website, is that right?
Yes.
Great stuff. So we'll put links to all of. We'll flash up on the screen and we'll put links at the bottom. So if you are in the Swindon area and you want to try and take on the beast of the Mastodon, then you can contact them and get that set up for you as well. Now, we're playing 3,000 points today, aren't we?
Yeah. 3,000
points. We've got the mission is Dominion, and we're playing Vanguard Strike, and we've got a city fight board set up, haven't we?
Yeah.
So lots of line of sight blockers, and it's a really cool board. So the board belongs to one of our members, Ben, and he's kindly let us use the board for us today, which is really awesome. So thanks very much, Ben. And for today's clash, I've brought 3,000 points Cybernetica Cohort. Woo! Love it. So we'll go through the list in a minute, but I'm trying out my Calyx Thanatar. So those of you that watched the Iron Warriors match recently, you'll know that my Calyx did absolutely nothing apart from tank wounds the whole game and then died. So
I'm hoping you'll do the same today.
So we're going to give him a bit of a reprieve today. We're going to try and field him, and he's got an armor bane.
He's got to redeem himself, isn't he?
He has. But he's got an armor bane attack, and he's got a haywire flamer, and then obviously the strength 10 las cannon. So hopefully, we can pop something off maybe. Yeah. So we'll do lists in a minute. But you've got a Leviathan and a drop pod.
I do have a Leviathan and a drop pod.
You're a bad man.
No, just the one.
I have played games recently with two, and two's frightening. One is manageable, maybe, I don't know, but
we'll see how he gets on. I think I've had mixed results in it. Either does really well or not. I'm hoping it's the former today.
Yeah, well, nothing worse than I've played games against Leviathans and they've come down and I managed to mobilise them and they've just stood in the drop pod just shooting off. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. We want him to get amongst and snip some robots up.
That's the plan. Stompy death robots get snipped.
We'll find out. Okay, we'll go over the list. We'll show you the battlefield, then we'll come back and talk about the mission a little bit more and what we're going to do with it.
Here's my 3,000 points of Iron Hands running the Rite of War head of the Gorgon, which is a unique Iron Hands Rite of War, which gives them some extra special bonuses and benefits. But firstly, a little bit about Iron Hands and their normal rules. So they begin with the Legions Astartes, which is the usual rule for Space Marines in the Horus Heresy. They have Inviolate Armour, which means the strength of all shooting attacks against them is at -1. They have Stand and Fight, which means they must pass a leadership test in order to make sweeping advances or to run. And they can only have a special rule, which means they can't have more jump infantry or fast attack than they have normal troops. So the head of the Gorgon, which is the special right of war, means that all vehicles with an armour value of at least 13 on one facing have Blessed Auto Simulacra for free, which is a 6-up, it will not die roll. I can upgrade all flamers to graviton guns for 10 points. I could take some Stompy Death robots in my list if I wanted to, but I haven't today. And they also, any vehicle that has the tank type, including transports, gains the outflank rule. They lastly have stubborn, which means in their own deployment zone, all the starties have stubborn as a rule. This is my HQ, which is led by the Iron Father Autek Mor. He has Cataphracti pattern Terminator armour, a servo arm, a Cortex controller, which is not much use in this particular game, but hand nonetheless, a Paragon blade and a Volkite charger. He has with him a command squad, also in Cataphracti Terminator armour, which has a standard bearer. It has 2 combi weapons. One is a combi Volkite and the other is a combi melter. And there is a thunder hammer and a chain fist that runs with those, and the standard bearer has a power fist. Next up is my elites. So I have 2 elite choices. I have the Gorgon Terminator squad. The Gorgon Terminators are a unique Iron Hand variation on normal Terminators. They have a 5-up invuln save, 2-up armor save, and a 5-up feel no pain. They are armed with power axes, apart from 2 who have been upgraded to power fists, and they have a hammer bearer as their sergeant, who has a thunder hammer. My second elite choice is a Quartus Contemptor Dreadnought, who has the standard Dreadnought power fist, and upgraded with a Keres assault cannon and the Havoc missile launchers. My first troop choice is a set of tactical marines who have an apothecary attached to them with artificer armour. There is a sergeant with a power sword and artificer armour, and they are riding in the Mastodon, which means they haven't got a Legion Vexilla, which they normally bring to stop them running away, because the Mastodon has the super heavy command upgrade. My second troop choice is another tactical squad, this time led by a sergeant with a power fist. There is a Legion's Vexilla in this one, because these guys are riding in a Rhino and may not be within the 24 inches of the Mastodon to get the buff from the command tank. And I don't want them running away too much. I have 3 heavy support choices. Firstly, there is the Sicaran battle tank, which has the twin-linked Sicaran auto cannon, 2 sponson mounted las cannons, and a heavy bolter. It's a fast vehicle and is one of my first heavy support choice. Second is the Leviathan in a Leviathan Dreadnought drop pod. He has the Leviathan Siege Claw, which is the melee weapon, and he has a Cyclonic Melter Lance, and also has the Phosphex Discharger. Upgraded with Armoured Ceramite, he's fully loaded. Lastly, we have the Achilles Alpha Pattern Land Raider. This has a capacity of 6 and will be transporting the command squad in their Terminator armour without Autek Mor, who will be in the Mastodon. What this vehicle has is enhanced ferromantic rights, which means Melter and Lance special effects don't work against it. It has a galvanic traction drive, which means it can re-roll failed dangerous terrain tests, and other than that is a fairly standard Land Raider, armed with 2 Volkite sponson culverins and a hull-mounted launcher with frag and shatter shells. And lastly, we have the super heavy Lord of War choice, which is the Legion Mastodon Heavy Assault Transport. It has been upgraded with the Command Vox relay for super heavies, which gives a 24-inch bubble around the vehicle, allowing re-rolls of morale tests. It is armed with its Sky Reaper battery on the top, which is anti-air but snap firing against ground units, so could be still useful. 2 sponson mounted las cannons, 2 sponson mounted heavy flamers, and then 1 fixed siege melter array at the front, which is heavy for blast but of quite a limited range of only 12 inches.
3,000 points of the Lego Cybernetica Battle Cohort. A couple of special rules attached to this unit include that if the Archmagos Dominus and the 2 Dominus models are killed, then my opponent gains D3 additional victory points. Also, my minimum requirement has to be 2 units of Castellax, each with 2 models in them. So I'm lucky I've got 4 of each, so that's good news. And also the fast attack and heavy support choices must first contain at least 1 unit with the Cybernetica Cortex special rule, so that's fine. So I've gone with Thanatars and Vorax, so that's fine. Also, one of the great things about this this battle cohort is that my Cortex controller range and my Cybertheurgy range is increased to 24 inches rather than 12, which is really handy on the battlefield. Also, all of the Thanatars, the Vorax and the Castellax have +1 initiative. So the Vorax go to initiative 5, the Castellax go to initiative 4, and the Thanatar go to initiative 3. I know it only sounds like a small thing, but when you're fighting Marines or Praetors and things, it really helps, that +1 initiative. HQ for the battle cohort includes the unique character Archmagos Dominus, and he's armed with an augury scanner, a machinator ray, a cyber familiar, a meltagun, and an abeyant. So he's quite good. He's got a 2-up armor save, a 3-up invulnerable, and a 5-up feel no pain. So he's quite good. He's also joined by 2 completely stock standard Dominuses. And they're armed with augury scanners. They have a las pistol and a power weapon. Troops choices comprise of 2 units of 20 Thralls. The only upgrade I've brought for them is the Rite of Pure Thought, which makes them fearless. So because we're playing an objective-based game, they're perfect for that because they'll stick around for ages and they won't run off the board if they lose any casualties. I've also put them in a Trios armoured conveyor, and I've upgraded that with the Bless Auto Simulacra upgrade. My second troops choice is 2 units of Castellax. This is where most of my points have gone. You know, these 2 units stick around for ages and are able to put some great firepower down the table, as well as some really awesome monstrous creature attacks in close combat. So the first unit has 4 Castellax with 2 melter guns and 2 Mauler bolt cannons, and they're all armed with power blades and flamers in the wrists. The second unit of 4 Castellax have Darkfire Cannon. That's a Strength 7, AP2, Lance, Blind, Get Shot, Darkfire Cannon. I really love these, although sometimes they are a bit hit and mix. You know, you're always looking for those 5s and 6s, which sometimes can be quite difficult. And they also have the enhanced targeting array, which makes them ballistic skill 5, which is really handy. Fast attack, I've gone with 1 unit of 4 Vorax. Vorax for me have been a little bit hit and miss over a few games. You know, in the last game against Matt and his Iron Warriors, they did a great job of outflanking and taking out some artillery and a couple of land raiders. But in this game, it's City Fight. They've got move through cover. They've got scout as well, so I might be able to push forward onto the board and put some early pressure on the Iron Hands player. Heavy support. This is where the big guys are. You know, I love the Cybernetica Battle Cohort, and I love taking Thanatars and Castellax, and today's no exception. So they're all individual, and I've gone with 2 Thanatar with the Helix Plasma Mortars. And then I've also taken the Calyx. Now, those of you that saw the last game that they were in between myself and the Iron Hands, the Calyx did absolutely nothing. He just tanked a load of wounds and then just died in combat to a load of Terminators. But I'm really hoping that he's going to stay alive this turn and get that Strength 10 Sol-X las cannon down the board and maybe get him to combat with his Strength 8 armor bayon attacks. We shall find out. Welcome back, guys. Now you've seen our lovely armies. You know what the Iron Hands have got, and you know what the Mechanicum are packing. And you've also had a look at the battlefield, and I've showed you where the objectives are for Dominion.
Yep.
So we have had a slight tweak since I showed you that. We've only moved the objectives just a couple of inches into a couple of buildings, so there's no major movements there, but you'll see that in a second. So at the moment, we don't know who's going first, do we?
Not yet, no.
We deploy first, go first. So I do have a dice. So we'll do this live on camera, so it's all fair and good. So I've got 3. Oh, we've got a 1.
That's the way it goes.
Oh god. Okay, decision. Deploy first, go first. I think I will deploy first and go first. I think with this game it will be about getting into position and getting some good shots off first. So I'll go first. Deploy first, go first. Unless obviously the Iron Hands can seize.
Not got any history of doing that, so maybe first time. We'll see.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll obviously do the seize when we're on the table together.
Yeah.
But we're just going to talk very briefly about the tactics that we're going to try and employ here. So, Peter, do you want to start first with what your rough plan is?
Yeah, the rough plan centres around this guy.
Yeah.
Having not played with him before, my tactics are all new. But at the end of the day, he's a troop delivery system, and so there's no point in holding him back because he's not going to be able to do much back there.
Okay.
What concerns me is the Mechanicum have both ranged and some nasty AP2 close-up stuff. They're not going to be easy to take down. So, whereas normally, I guess the Astartes will probably bombard and whittle the defenders or their enemy down as much as possible before they get in there, I don't think I've got the luxury of that. So, I'm just going to have to see how it goes. But yeah, essentially, that's all about getting guys in the enemy's face as quick as possible. So, I think that's... So tactics are essentially charge up the middle.
Oh, okay. Mine's a little bit different. I always struggle with Dominion missions because of my troop choices. I've only got Thralls in my army. Yes, I could have Thalax or Skylax, but I do love the Cybernetica Cohort. So that does hinder me a little bit just because of my choice of playing style. But I've given them an armoured conveyor so they can move around a little bit. Hopefully some of the objectives will be in our deployment zone, the Vanguard strike, so maybe we'll be able to get a couple of early ones off there. It's really important to notice as well that in Heresy, and particularly in the game that we're playing here, troops can only score if they're outside of their transports.
Yeah.
That's the key difference between 30k and 40k. So, you know, do I use the Trios as mobile cover for the Thralls to score some? I'm not sure. And then I'm going to, scout the Vorax up, so maybe try and get them up as close as I can and make Peter deal with them a little bit earlier on in the game. But other than that, it's the same tactics for me. Sit back, blast the enemy, use the Cybertheurgy to heal all the wounds, or to double shot the Thanatars, or to double shot some Lance, and maybe take some vehicles out early game. The only thing that really worries me is the Leviathan in the drop pod. I am quite scared of them because if you don't take them out, then they all charge. And I played a game at our club last night against Alex, one of our guys here. He had a Leviathan and it cut me to pieces. It just ripped my ass from underneath me. And that combined with a Night Lord's Primarch, the Night Haunter, he just insta-killed my Thanatars, and the Leviathan just ripped my Castellax apart. So I am scared of them, there's no doubt about that.
Hopefully I can do the same today.
Yeah.
Although I don't have a Primarch with me, so only half of that force you had yesterday.
Yes. Well, when Peter and I were chatting, we sort of discussed lists and what we were going to do, and you really wanted to take the Mastodon, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a new model, never been played with on, first blooded on this table, or any table. So it was a toss-up between that and bringing Ferrus.
Yes.
But the Mastodon won out in the end because it's just a Mastodon.
And equally, I was going to take Scoria if Peter was going to take Ferrus, but because he wasn't, I thought, well, Primarch against Scoria. Scoria is quite powerful, and I thought, well, I'll leave him at home and I'll just take a Dominus. But we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be a good game. I
think we've got an even match. Quite a lot of firepower. You've got some seriously nasty stompy death robots.
We'll see, but you've got Leviathan and a drop pod.
I do have a Leviathan
and the Mastodons.
So essentially, it all centres on these guys.
You got some.
Everybody else is just luggage.
You are true, but those Terminator squads and Autek Mor is quite a nice character. So
yeah, he's quite fluffy, and I think it's quite a fluffy list. When I was building it, I kind of thought it would be more like a convoy, an exploratory convoy that's just moving through the city. So it's a couple of vehicles. It's nothing substantial. He's just Autek Mor's got his
Cool.
His command squad, he's just going out for a quiet picnic.
He's going for a bit of a trundle.
Yeah, going for a trundle in his new toy, and a Mechanicum turn up and spoiled his day.
And it's worth noting, well, that you're loyalist for the game, aren't you?
Yes.
And I'm traitor as well. Obviously, with Scoria, I would have been traitor anyway, but yeah. So it's a good matchup.
Autek Mor is a loyalist choice,
yes.
So it does restrict that.
Great stuff. All right, well, I'm really excited. I hope you guys are too. We are going to do deployment. I'll deploy first, go first, unless Iron Hands concedes, but we'll see you on the battlefield. Okay guys, here we are. We are deployed. Iron Hands are opposite the Mechanicum, staring each other down across the battlefield. We've shown you our armies, we've shown you where the objective markers are, and now it's time to do the business. Now currently, Mechanicum are deployed first and they are going first. So Peter, do you want to seize?
I'll have a go.
You want to have a go?
I'll have a go.
All right, lovely. So it's worth noting before we go any further that Peter's dice, they're the Deathwatch dice, is that right?
Dice, yeah. So
a symbol is a 1, that all the other numbers are the correct numbers. All right, when you're ready.
It's a 3.
Oh, okay. So the Mechanicum do have first turn, and I need to start stripping points off Mastodon. So good game.
Yeah, good luck.
Look forward to it.
I think I'm going to need it.
You, me both.
Right, excellent. Well, I should have hid a bit better, I think.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Mechanicum turn 1 movement. It's a bit of a steady one for me, really. There's not a lot of line of sight to any of the units, really. I'd like to have taken the Sakaran out, but I just can't see it. So the Castellax with Dartfire Cannon have stayed stationary to get a good shot across the battlefield. The Trios armoured conveyor has moved up 12 inches. I'll probably flat him out next turn as well. The Tech Thralls have stayed exactly where they are because they are on an objective, so that has scored me 1 point already, which is fantastic news. The Thanatar with the Calyx, the Solex las cannon rather, that's moved forward 6 inches, eyeing up a shot on either the Achilles or the Mastodon. The 2 Thanatar with plasma mortars have stayed still. The other Trios armoured conveyor has gone forward 12 inches through the ruins, just trying to head the Mastodon off as much as possible. The Vorax unit, they scouted and then they moved up into the cover. I'm hopefully going to run then further into the ruins in the shooting phase. And then the Castellax with the Mauler bolt cannons and the multi-melters, along with the Archmagus Dominus, has just pushed forward. I'm really worried about this Leviathan, so I'm trying to cover all my bases. And finally, the Tech Thralls have stayed stationary in the building. Again, they're on a objective, and that has scored me 1 point. Mechanicum, turn 1 shooting. Now, due to the really great deployment of the Iron Hands, I haven't got a line of sight to hardly anything. So I've only got 2 units shooting at the Iron Hands, which is a little unfortunate. So firstly, we're going to start with the Dark Fire Cannon. I've only got 2 cannon that can see the Mastodon, so we're going to try and get rid of the Void Shields. Now, Void Shields are armour 12, so let's see what happens. So first of all, we've got to do individually because they get hot, so 2s. Okay, so I've got 4 hits, which is great. So strength 7, an arm value of 12 for the Void Shield, so we need 5s to glance, take a Void Shield, and so we take 1 Void Shield, so not bad.
1 cover save from the intervening terrain on the Mastodon. That's 6, makes it 5 up.
Mechanicum, turn 1 shooting, it was pretty ineffectual, really. As I said before, the deployment for the Iron Hands was really, really good, and I couldn't get line of sight of anything. Also, a lot of my units just marched forward and then ran to get in a better position next turn. So what actually happened is, as you saw, the Dark Fire fired at the Mastodon to try and strip some void shields, but we didn't do that unfortunately because Iron Hands made their cover save. The 2 plasma mortars shot at the Mastodon to try and deplete the void shields. I only got 1 void shield off, and then the Calyx shot his Solex las cannon. And again, the Iron Hands made their cover save, which was pretty fantastic. But that's all for me. Not a massive turn, and hopefully we'll survive the Iron Hands in their first turn.
So, quite lucky to escape from the Mechanicum shooting. Iron Hand reaction to seeing the Mechanicum on their Sunday drive out seemed to be quite responsive. The drop pod came in first, trying to be bold, managed to drop right in the centre of the Mechanicum back line, trying to cause some havoc down this end of the table. The Mastodon weighed up its options and decided that the best form of attack is flat out, and has thunder blitzed the Trios conveyor. We'll resolve that in a second, but it's gone flat out, foot to the floor, using its mass to try and plough that out of the way. The Achilles Alpha has shuffled around and repositioned so that I've got some line of fire with the Volkite culverins on the sponson on a number of different targets. And hopefully we can do something there. And then finally on the back of the table, the Sikaran has nipped around the corner in order to get a good line of sight on some potential targets down the main high street. We'll resolve the Thunderblitz ram attack from the Mastodon, and we roll on the Thunderblitz chart to see what actually happens. High is good. A 3. When you ram an enemy vehicle, you take your facing of the part of the vehicle that's hitting the enemy, take that armor value and halve it. So on the Mastodon, that's 14 all round. Half that is 7. It then gets +1 on the strength to the ram because it's a tank. It then gets a further +2 because it's a super heavy vehicle, meaning its initial strength on the ram is 10. The 3 on the Thunderblitz table now means I add D6 to the strength of that ram, which I add, which is a 6. So it's now strength 16 plus the actual strength of the ram itself to see whether it's a pen. So yeah, I think that's
like
definitely
21. I think
definitely through. I think.
Yeah, you just need to roll on the chart.
It's another 5.
So that's a weapon destroyed.
So we need to determine which weapon's destroyed. What weapons have you got on there?
Okay, so I've got 2 Volkite Sentinels and a Mauler bolt cannon. So 1 to 2 Sentinel, 3 to 4 the Mauler, and 5 6 another Sentinel. So what do we got? 4. So it's the Mauler bolt cannon's gone. So that's a little unfortunate. Next, I get to do my ram back. Now, the way the armoured conveyor works is that I'm armour 14, but I get +1 to my armour value, which takes it to 15. Divide that by 2 is 7.5. So we round up to 8. If you keep ahead of the maths, you're doing really well. So I'm strength 8, and I'm a tank, so I'm strength 9. So I need a 5 or 6 to glance or pen the Mastodon, and I get a 1. That's nothing. But also I get a haywire attack, and I do a glancing hit. So not bad at all.
Shooting phase from Iron Hands, turn 1. So the Mastodon can't actually shoot anything because I did the Thunderblitz ram. The Achilles Alpha has identified a number of targets. So the left sponson, Volkite culverin, and the main weapon are going to shoot at the Castellax that are hiding over there. The culverin will be snap shooting, and then the power of the machine spirit to the other sponson culverin will then try and kill those nasty thorax in the ruins there. Hopefully we can do something with that. Right, so the left sponson Volkite culverin is going to shoot at the Castellax unit that's hiding in those ruins. 4 shots, hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP 5, but twin linked. Also has a deflagrate, so any wounds gives me an opportunity to do extra wounds as well, but cross that bridge when we get to it. So 1 hit so far, but twin linked. just the one hit. Needing 6s to wound. No, nothing. Quad launcher now firing at the Castellax, same unit. 4 shots, strength 8, AP 4, hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits, wounding on 3s. 1 wound.
Wolf, not bad. So I got a 3 up armor save, which I fail, so 1 wound caused.
The right sponson culverin is now shooting at the Vorax. This is using power of the machine spirit, so it's hitting on 3s, same as last time. It's strength 6, AP 5. This one's twin linked. So that's 4 hits.
It's pretty good.
Strength of the Vorax.
Toughness 6.
Toughness 6, so needing 4s.
Oh man.
It's two wounds.
Okay, what's the AP of the culverins?
AP 5.
Okay, so I got 4 up armor save. So don't save any, so 2 wounds dealt out.
And the deflagrate means I then do a further 2 wounds. Just 1 more.
Okay, so 1 more wound. I could lose a Vorax, and I saved it, thank God for that.
The Sicaran is now going to shoot at the HQ Castellax unit. There will be 2 weapons snap firing because I moved. So 1 las cannon will be snap firing, as will the heavy bolter. But first off, we'll do the auto cannon on the top. So it's twin linked, but it's hitting on 3s, so it's only 1 drop so far. So all hit, 6 hits, strength 7, AP 4, so wounded on 4s. 6s are rending, so that's 2 rends.
And that's it.
And that's it, just 2 rends.
Cool, so I just get 5 up in vulnerables. Save 1, take 1 wound.
So the las cannon at full ballistic skill against that same unit. Hidden on 3s, hits, wounded on 2s. It's a wound.
Cool, so I get an invulnerable with 5 up, which I failed, so 2 wounds dealt out in total so far.
Next will be the snap firing las cannon, so hitting on 6s. Oh, it's a hit. And then, oh, this time it's a 1.
You deserved that. You can't
Yeah, I
snap
did.
fire on a las cannon.
And then lastly, the heavy bolter, snap firing. That's it, not twin linked. Leviathan is going to shoot at the Thanatar. First off with his Cyclonic Melter Lance. So he's ballistic skill 5, so he's hitting on 2s. 3 shots. So that is 3 hits. He's strength 9, AP 1, so wounding on 3s. So that is 3 wounds, AP 1.
Right, that is not what I needed. So I got 5 up in vulnerables, which I save 1, but I take 2 wounds.
Okay, next is the melter gun that's in his siege claw. So it's 1 shot, hidden on 2s. It's a hit. Again, wounding on nothing on a 1. So that didn't do anything. Next up, the 2 heavy flamers into that same unit. So majority toughness is 8, which means I'm needing 6s to wound. 1.
Okay, and the
AP 5.
And Thanatar has a 2 up armor save, and we saved.
So that didn't go quite as well as I'd hoped, though it wasn't bad. The Mastodon, I was really hoping for a nice hard tank shock, but it took a whole point, took 1 back in return. Took a couple of wounds off the Thanatar with the Leviathan, which was quite useful. His forte is in close combat, so he did quite well. The Sicaran did quite well again on a high toughness unit to take a couple of wounds off. Try and whittle them down. I know with Cyber Third you will heal most of those up. But on the whole, not a bad response to their to the Mechanicum first turn. I think so far neither of us have done an awful lot. I think it's about to get messy.
Mechanicum turn 2 movement. I think I did okay. I got off quite lightly in the previous turn. The Leviathan has dropped, so we need to deal with that. So what I've done is the Castellax with the Archmagos unit has redirected themselves. I need to take out that drop pod so then the rest of my army can focus on Leviathan. The Vorax have moved through cover and they are going to charge the Mastodon. The Trios armoured conveyor has rammed the Mastodon again, and we scored a penetrating hit, so scored a hull point, and then the haywire attack from the assault ram caused another hull point, so we've caused 3 so far. The other Trios has moved 12 inches towards the Achilles. That's as far as I can go this turn.
And it's a really good thing that both thralls are still on their objectives. So I've scored another 2 victory points this turn. So that's 4 so far. The Castellax with Darkfire Cannon are going to focus everything they've got either on the drop pod or the Leviathan. And the 2 Thanatars, the one closest to you has moved back just to get a better shot off on the Leviathan and the drop pod. And the one in the ruins, he's going to either look at the Sakaran or maybe at the Mastodon, just depends really. But this turn could be quite decisive for me. Mechanicum, turn 2, shooting. I'm going to start off with my Cybertheurgy. So first of all, the Dominus is going to try and heal one of the wounds on the Thanatar. So I'm doing Rite of Eternity. It's a leadership test, no negative modifier, so I need a 9 or less, which I pass, so I heal a wound. The next Dominus in the Castellax with Darkfire Cannon, he's going to try and heal the wound on the Castellax there. Again, Rite of Eternity, 9 or less, which I pass, which is great. And finally, the Archmados Dominus in the Castellax unit is going to heal the wound on the Castellax at the back. Rites of Eternity, Leadership 10, which we pass. So we heal 3 wounds this turn, which is absolutely fantastic. It's time to take care of this Leviathan. So what I'm going to do, because I can shoot at the Leviathan, but I can't assault it, I need to take out the drop pod. So firstly, the Castellax unit with the 2 multi-melters are firing into the drop pod. So I need 3s to hit, which I hit with both. And they're strength 8, armor value 12, so I need 4s to glance, 5s to pen. Cool, so I get 1 glance, 1 pen. Now because the drop pod came down, the Iron Hands player will get a cover save. So cover save of 5 up to save against the glance and the pen.
Nope.
Okay, so we've got a glance and a pen. Now multi-melters are AP 1, so this plus 2 to the damage result, which becomes a 5, which is weapon destroyed. We caused a weapon destroyed result, but because it doesn't have a weapon destroyed, it goes down the chart to an immobilized. But because it's immobilized, it then just causes a hull point. So the drop pod has been wrecked, which is great news. The first part of my plan worked by destroying the drop pod, which means that the Leviathan had to disembark. So it disembarked within an inch of the actual vehicle itself, which was the door, and decided to go towards my Thanatar. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot my Darkfire Cannon at it, and I hopefully will bring it down with these. So starting from left to right, I need the Gets Hot rolls. I need BS5, so 2s to hit. So I'll take that wound in a second. 4 hits. Okay, cool. So the first Castellax takes a wound on a 3 up because of the Gets Hot, so he doesn't take the wound. And the last Castellax takes a wound, but he makes his save, so that's fine. So out of 8 shots, I've got 6 hits. Now, the Darkfire are Lance, Blind, Gets Hot. So we're going to do 5 to glance, 6 to pen on Leviathan. So all we've got is 1 pen. So the Iron Hands will get a 4 up invulnerable save. Oh, which he makes it. It's very disappointing. All right, so that now leads me then to the Thanatar Calyx with the Solex Las Cannon. I need a 2 to hit, which I do hit. It's strength 10, AP 2, so I need a 3 to glance, 4 to pen. Oh, don't do it with the Solex. That's disappointing. Next, the Calyx will shoot Leviathan with its Graviton Ram. So it's a heavy one, concussive Haywire Flamer. So I've already hit, of course. I just need to roll on the Haywire chart, which I pen, which is great news. So there's no AP to it, so I just roll on the chart. And I got a 1, so it's just shaken. But of course, we forgot that the Leviathan has a 4 up invulnerable. Ah, so we do get it. That is great news. Because the Darkfire Cannon shot at the Leviathan, it now needs a blind test. So a blind test is just an initiative test. So the Leviathan's initiative 4, so 4 or less to be blinded. Okay, and it has failed. So the the weapon skill and the ballistic skill are down to 1 for the next turn. Next up, the Vorax, who are about to charge into the Mastodon. I'm going to shoot with their lightning guns. So I've got 4 lightning guns, hitting on 3s. So 2 hit, not too bad. So it's strength 7, rending, so I need 6s. followed by 6s. Didn't work, but it was worth a try to try and get off the void shield. Next up, the Thanatar with plasma mortar is going to shoot all the way down over at the Sakaran. I've already hit it, but it's scattered 4 inches, but on ballistic skill 5. So it's 2 dice, pick the highest, armor value 12. Oh god. So yeah, we don't even pen the Sakaran. Turn 2 for Mechanicum. Yeah, not a bad turn. I took the drop pod out, which now gives me access to Leviathan. I would have liked to have stripped a couple of hull points from my Dark Fire before the Thanatar with Calyx. The Thanatar Calyx goes into combat. It's a 6-inch charge, so we should make that. But I am striking at low initiative, so we'll see. Next up will be the Vorax charging into the Mastodon. I'm probably going to have to use my smash attacks. I'm really hoping I can get an explodes result on that one, but it'll all depend. Other than that, my shooting was pretty terrible, really, nothing major. The only great thing to come from this turn was the 2 additional victory points from the Thralls on the objectives. Mechanicum turn 2 assault. The Vorax have made the charge in against the Mastodon, and there was a huge amount of firepower coming in from all the weapon systems because they shoot at ballistic skill 5. Sorry, ballistic skill 2, so we're hitting on 5s instead of 6s, but I only took 1 wound coming in. Next up is the super important one. So we've got the Thanatar Calyx charging in the Leviathan. It's also worth noting that the Leviathan is now initiative 1 because of the concussive effect from the graviton round in the shooting phase. So I need a 6-inch charge. There's no negative modifier because I'm a monstrous creature. I need this. Wow, and I make it into a 7. That is brilliant news. Really pleased about the Calyx making it in. So not only is the Leviathan concussed down to initiative 1, it was also blinded by the Darkfire in the previous turn as well. So it's fighting with weapon skill 1. So those 2 rules combined from 2 different units is absolutely fantastic. So the Calyx is hitting on 3s. He's a strength 10, armor bane, AP 1 with the graviton round. So I need 3s to hit. Oh, we only hit once. This is bad. But I am strength 10, armor bane. So I need 3s to glance, 4s to pen. So we just pen with armor bane, but we get an invulnerable save. Oh, I can't believe that.
Makes it.
So not only did the Calyx have all those rules in its favour, it just failed to do anything. So next up is the Leviathan with 3 attacks.
3 attacks base, and I'm hitting you on 4s.
Yes, you're weapon skill 1.
Yeah. So that's 2 hits.
Oh.
I'm strength 10.
2s to wound.
2s to wound. AP 2.
Oh my word. Alright, so I'm 6 ups for in combat, which I fail both.
And as it has the severing cut rule, for each wound done on a 4+, it takes another wound. Another D3 wounds, I should say. Oh, I was lucky. Nothing. So it only takes the 2.
Okay, so we're lucky. So the Calyx could have seriously died that turn, but I only took 2 wounds, which isn't bad. After that disappointing combat with the Calyx and the Leviathan, I'm hoping that my Vorax can do a better job. It's a tough decision. I don't know whether to smash or whether to use their normal attacks. If they use their normal attacks, they're strength 6, plus 6 is 12, but then they have rending, so then I need another 4+ after that. So it's quite a big one. So I think I'm going to smash. So I've got 4 hits. 4 attacks needing 3s to hit, which I hit with 3, which is great news. And when I smash, I double their strength to strength 10, and I reroll armor pen. So I need 4s to glance, 5s to pen. So I get 1 pen, but I reroll my attacks. Wow, okay, 3 6s. So that's 3 pens, and they're AP 2, remember. So it's 3 dice plus 1 each. Okay, so this is good news. We'll just do the results quickly and get back to you. As you can see, I rolled a 6, which is great news. So that causes an additional 3 hull points to the Mastodon. I am only 1 away from destroying it, which was a really great effort, I think, from the Vorax. So the Mastodon has got 9 hull points with only 1 remaining. Turn 2, not bad for me. I really wanted to take that Leviathan, and now unfortunately my Calyx is stuck in combat with him, which I honestly think I'm gonna lose him this turn, but we'll see. Scoring those 2 victory points was great at the beginning of the turn. Nearly destroying the Mastodon. It's only got 1 hull point left, which is great news. I was a little bit disappointed with the Thanatar not being able to take any hull points on the Sakaran, but that's okay. All we've got to do now is brace myself for the Iron Hands next turn.
Iron Hands turn to movement. So the Rhino that was held in reserve has come in with the outflank special rule that Iron Hands have for tank type vehicles. Unfortunately, I rolled a 3, meaning I came in on this side of the table as opposed to the other side, which is where I wanted him. But that's just the way it is. So he's come on table 6 and then gone flat out just to try and close the distance between his entry point and the Thralls. The Sakaran has moved up in order to get a clearer shot on that unit that's holding an objective. The very badly bruised Mastodon has backed up and has disgorged the Terminators squad, the Gorgon Terminators with the Iron Father, and they're looking at charging the Mechanicum, possibly a multi-charge going on there, I think, with the vehicle as well. And also the Contemptor Dreadnought has decided he might make an appearance, and he's popped out the back of the Mastodon and he's looking at joining the fray against the Vorax. The Achilles Alpha has repositioned in order to get better line of sight on the Vorax, or possibly the Thralls in the distance, depending on how the other shooting goes, giving me a couple of options at least. The command squad have got out of the side door. Unfortunately, my move through cover roll was a bit pants, and so they're stuck out in the open, unable to assault this turn because of the, unfortunately, the Achilles Alpha is not an assault vehicle. And then lastly, the Leviathan is stuck in combat over there. I'm hoping that I can get himself out of that pickle he's in and start doing what he does best, which is upsetting people in the backfield. But at the moment, he's stuck where he is. Iron Hands turn to shooting. The Sakaran has shot into the Thralls, trying to hoik them off that objective. Killed 4. Not too bad. Cover saves helping out quite a lot there. We've done this off camera. The Rhino has snapshot its weapons and guys from the hatches and killed another 1, but not enough, unfortunately, to winkle them off the objective. So we'll now move to the Quartus Contemptor, who is going to shoot into the Vorax with his Keres assault cannon first. Hitting on 3s. Not twin linked, but not too bad. And then strength 6, toughness 6, so needing 4s to wound, 6s are rending. So that's actually nothing at all, which is marvellous. Next up, the Havoc launcher from the Quartus. We've already mapped where it's gone, and we managed to land smack in the middle of them, having 6 hits. So strength 5, AP 5, 2 wounds.
Okay, so 2 wounds. I get my 4-up saves, which I fail, so the lead Vorax takes 2 wounds.
The Gorgon Terminators are going to fire their combi bolters into the Vorax. 6 combi bolters there, firing 2 shots each, so 12 shots, hitting on 3s, twin linked. And that's pretty successful, so they're all hit. 4 wounds at AP 5.
Okay, so the Vorax get 4-up armor, so I need 4s. Oh, so that's bad. So 1 Vorax drops.
So the autocannon hitting the Vorax, hitting on 3s, twin linked. So that's 2 hits, and wounding on 3s. That's 2 wounds.
Cool. So
AP 4.
Can't do anything about that. Take 2 wounds.
Now Autek Mor will fire his Volkite Charger. He is ballistic skill 5, so he's hitting on 2s. 2 hits, and he's strength 5 versus toughness 6, so needing 5s to wound. Nothing. The Mastodon is going to fire a danger close melter at the Vorax. So this is danger close, which is why we're filming this. I think normally we wouldn't bother with these things. So he's trying to hit on the back of that template. So we roll for scatter. He's got 4 shots. So that's a direct hit on the first one. The second one, also a direct hit. The third one is a direct hit, which is a good job because that would have been 10. And the last one is going to go 5 minus ballistic skill 4, so 1 inch along, which may get me 2 rather than 1. No, not quite. Okay, so we have 4 strength 9 AP1 shots. If all of these wound on 2+, then I've wiped the squad, which would be a result. We have a cocked dice. And that's 4 2+.
Great stuff.
Shooting the remaining weapons on the Mastodon, the left sponson las cannon shot into the Trios and took a glancing hit off it, so it's down another hull point. And the anti-air weapon on the top shot into the Castellax and did another wound over there. Flamer's got nothing in range and the other las cannon had no target to shoot at. Good shooting then from the Gorgons, perhaps a little bit too good. I didn't really want to kill them all off because I wanted to multi-charge the Vorax and the Trios. But because I didn't shoot at the Trios, I can't now charge it, which is unfortunate. So, say a little bit too effective shooting. Maybe Ferris will have a word later. Having done that, we then fired the Achilles Alpha into the Thralls that were holding that objective, trying to do what I tried earlier with the Sikaran and the Rhino, and actually we're a bit more successful this time. So launching the barrage quad mortar at it, managed to clear out a number off the levels that were hiding in there, and then finish them off with the Volkite Culverin. They are fearless, so they're sticking around, but they don't hold that objective for this turn, so I'm denying at least 1 point for David next time. Iron Hands turn to assault phase, so I'm still blinded and concussed, so I'm going initiative 1, and I am weapon skill 1, which is not helping me much, I think, in this hole. So I'm hoping that David rolls as poorly as he did last time.
Right, now is the opportunity to the Calyx to redeem himself. So weapon skill 3 versus 1, and I'm hitting on 3s, which I only hit once, which is brilliant. And I'm strength 10 armor bane, so I need 3+. Okay, so I do pen on a 6, which is great, and I am AP 1, but 4 up invulnerable.
Oh, he fails it. This is bad.
So this +2, takes it to a 4. So he's just stunned. But you've got extra armor.
Extra armor
so he's
means
just
he's shaken, which only affects shooting, luckily. But I'm still at initiative 1, so he gets to strike back with 3 attacks. He's hitting you on 4s. Only 1 back. He was also strength 10. Nah, nothing. So we're just hanging about.
I think the Leviathan, I think I got away with it quite
Yeah, he
well
didn't
there.
manage to dig his way out that hole, so he's stuck there for another turn.
Fantastic.
Oh well. So a summary then of my turn 2. Not too bad. Pretty effective in the shooting, not so good in the assault phase. The Rhino came on, managed to move up and worried somebody. Did kill one. The Sikaran did a bit, started to whittle a couple of down. Managed to do some of the groundwork. The Contemptor took a wound off Vorax. Not a lot else. The Mastodon did fairly well. At least it didn't scatter onto my own guys, which is always a result. The Gorgons did fantastically well, as I said earlier. A bit too good, because now I couldn't charge anything. Very effective shooting from the Achilles Alpha, who managed to get those off the objective. And then lastly, the Leviathan, who so far has not had a very good game, and still locked in combat with that Thanatar, which is not great because he is blinded again. Concussed rather from that nasty weapon the Thanatar's got. So he's still stuck there and going at initiative 1 again next turn.
Mechanicum turn 3. I said this in the previous phase, but I also think this turn's going to be important for me as well. My Calyx has done really well in combat with Leviathan due to the concussive and the blind rules from previous turns, but all that's worn off now apart from the concussive rule. So I should take him, but I'm going to try and boost him with my Cybertheurgy this turn as well. Everything else, the Thralls have moved off to the side. The Castellax with Dartfire Cannon have repositioned themselves in the building to get a great line of sight down at the Sakaran at the far end of the table. The Archmagos Dominus unit with the Caslax are lining themselves up for a super long charge into the Gorgons, Terminators, but that's not before I shoot 2 Thanatar Helix plasma mortars at them. Both the armoured conveyors have just slightly shuffled over just to get better positions with their Mauler bolt cannon on one and the Volkite chargers on Sentinels on the other. But that's all. I'm hoping for an amazing shooting and assault phase this turn. I should hopefully break the back of the Iron Hands this turn. Mechanicum, turn 3 shooting. I've had a bit of an unfortunate round of shooting, really. The Caslax with Dark Fire, they all suffered a Gets Hot wound. So they all lost a shot each, but 1 wound was put on the lead Caslax. So I've only got 4 shots down, 2 of which are obscured. But there we are. So the 2 who are unobscured, I need 5 to glance, 6 to pen, which I get 1 glance, which is great. And then I get another shot, but this has a 6 up cover. So 5 to glance, 6 to pen. So a glance, but it's failed. That's good. And the final one is a 5 up cover, but I need a 5 or 6 to glance or pen. And I get a pen, so cover save. Wow, okay, so that's 3 hull points dealt out. We'll see if we explode it. Doesn't really matter because there's nothing to kill it, but just in case. So it goes to a 6, it doesn't explode, but that is the Sakaran dead. After shooting the Sakaran, I decided to try and help out the Thanatar Calyx in combat with the Leviathan. So I cast Rite of Fury, but I failed, unfortunately. So then I cast it with a second Magos Dominus and got it off. So now the Calyx has +2 attacks, which will really help me out. And then from the Archmagos Dominus, I cast Rite of Eternity and healed a wound. So the Thanatar, in combat with the Leviathan, is back up to 3 wounds and has +2 attacks. So that should do the job. The Thanatar aimed its plasma mortar at the Mastodon, clipping it and also clipping 4 Terminators as well. So the Mastodon still has 2 Void Shields left, but it'll be good to try and take them down as it's only got 1 hull point left. So I will try and do the Void Shield on a 12. Plasma Mortar is strength 8. I need a 4. 2 dice pick the highest, which I don't manage to do, unfortunately. And then we will try and wound the Terminators. Now it is strength 8, but because Iron Hands have that special rule, inviolate armour, it's -1 strength, so I can't insta-kill these and they get their feel no pain, which is quite annoying. But I need 2s to wound. So I wound 4 times.
Right, so as this is a barrage weapon, the guy closest is actually the Iron Father, Autek Mor. So I'm going to try and look out all 4 of these incoming wounds, because the Gorgon Terminators have a 5 up feel no pain, whereas Autek Mor only has a 6 up because he's an Iron Father. So we'll try and look out these on 2+. Look out them all. So we now have some invuln saves. 5 up, so I'll make 1. And then have 3 feel no pains 5 up, where I'll make another one, so 2 die.
The other Thanatar has taken the same shot and shot on the corner of the Mastodon, hoping to clip some Terminators as well. So firstly, we'll try and get rid of the Void Shield. So strength 8, 2 dice pick the highest. I need 12. I need a 4 in total. Cool. So we get rid of a Void Shield. That's great news. And then we also clip 2 Terminators, needing 2s to wound, which we do twice. And now we just need some invulnerable saves.
So one of the guys closest is a normal Terminator, so he has a 5 up invuln, which he makes. And then the second shot also on him fails, so now has a 5 up feel no pain, which he also fails, so he dies.
End of the shooting phase, turn 3 for the Mechanicum. The Caslax with Dark Fire did a great job of taking out the Sakaran, which I was really, really pleased about. The Thanatars with the Helix plasma mortars, they took a couple of Terminators, which wasn't too bad, but I was really hoping to get rid of the 2 Void Shields on the Mastodon at least, but here we are. Then the Trios shot at the Command Terminator squad and took one of the Terminators down, and then the Volkite Sentinels off the other Trios conveyor didn't manage to take a Terminator, which is a shame. Combined firepower from the Caslax with Mauler bolt cannons and Melter, and the Magos' Melter didn't manage to do anything, unfortunately, but they're going to try in the next turn for a 10-inch charge. Mechanicum Assault Phase Turn 3. I declared a charge against the Gorgon Terminators with a Castellax and Archmagos Dominus. I didn't suffer any wounds coming in on the Overwatch, that's good news. But now I have a 10-inch charge, which is huge. Although I am confident if I make contact, I might do the squad. So I need a 10-inch charge. Oh, I rolled a 4, so that's no good. So we'll go straight on to combat with the Calyx, Thanatar, and the Leviathan. Here it is, the final showdown. This is where the Calyx finally does some work for me. So the Calyx has 2 attacks base, and then I boosted his attacks with Rite of Fury. So he now has 4 attacks. Leviathan is still concussed, so he's initiative 1, but he's not blind this turn, so he is fighting with his full weapon skill. My weapon skill is 3, the Leviathan is 5. I need 4s to hit. Come on. Oh, not bad. Okay, this is good news, good news. So I've got 3 hits, and now these are strength 10, armor bane, AP 1. So I need 4s to glance, 3s to glance, 4s to pen. So there's a pen. That's a glance. Sorry, that's a pen. And that's a pen. So we've got 4 pens. So 3 invulnerables, sorry. 3 invulnerables.
Need to make 2 of these.
Yeah. Oh,
no, failed to.
Done it.
Made 1, but that is him gone. So
the Calyx managed to kill Leviathan, and in its death throes, it explodes in spectacular fashion. But the only thing that was in range was 3 Thanatars, and it needed 6s to win them. But unfortunately, the Iron Hands didn't roll any 6s, so the Leviathan is removed, and the Calyx consolidates 6 inches.
Iron Hands movement turn 3. The Rhino has moved up 6 inches, and the tactical squad inside have bailed out and are looking at those thralls and that objective. In the centre, the Mastodon has moved up 6 inches, and the tactical squad that are inside have debuffs to retain control of that objective. The Contemptor has shuffled up a further 6, and the Gorgon Terminators with the Iron Father are looking at that Trios as their potential next target. Achilles Alpha has shifted around again to get better line of sight and targeting on that HQ squad. Try and hopefully take some wounds off of that before we get stuck in. And the command squad have moved themselves up and will be looking to assault that other Trios which killed one of their friends earlier. The Mastodon has fired its 2 las cannons and its main melter gun into the HQ command squad and has managed to do 3 wounds in total, which is not too bad. Didn't scatter off as much as it could have done, which is very useful. So now we're looking at the command squad at that Trios. He is going to shoot his combi melter. It is into the front armour, so it's -1 because of the flare shields, and he has 1 shot hitting on 3. And he hits. As it's melter, he's definitely within half range. So it's 11 plus 7, making a pen. So what does it do? It explodes him.
Yeah, it does. So 6 plus 2 is 8. So it explodes. I wound you 2 on a 4-up. The explodes result, which I don't, so the Trios is removed.
So Trios is removed. Good shooting. So the Contemptor is firing at the HQ squad, and he's hit with his Havoc missile launcher for 4 wounds. So we're just going to see whether these do. Strength 5 versus toughness 7, so needing 6s. No wounds. The assault cannon now from the Contemptor. He's a Quartus, so he's hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits. And he is strength 6, so needing 5s to wound, 6s are rending. Not a thing. The combined firepower from the Achilles Alpha and the Contemptor and the tactical squad have managed to kill one of the Castellax. The Gorgon Terminators have signalled their intent to charge the Trios by shooting bolters at it and making pinging noises. So that's the end of the Iron Hands shooting phase. Managed to kill a Castellax, managed to kill a Trios conveyor, which is always nice. Looking at killing the other one now on the charge in the assault phase. The tactical squad that came out of the Rhino, rather than resist the temptation to kill all those thralls, they passed their leadership test and were able to run and therefore secure that objective. Got to remember that that's actually the point of the game, not just to kill stuff. We managed to destroy the Trios, the chain fist doing its job. We didn't make it explode, so it is just wrecked and providing a little bit of cover. But I'm probably in a lot of trouble from the HQ unit next turn. And the auto simulacra rolls didn't get me back any hull points, and I'm still a void shield down on the Mastodon.
Mechanicum turn 4 movement. I've left the Castellax with Darkfire Cannon up in the building. They're going to try and get some shots off on the Terminator command squad. The Thralls have scored me another victory point at the beginning of this turn, which is great news. Castellax at the back has stayed still. I'm not sure what he's going to target yet. The Calyx has just moved forward. He's going to try and shoot something. Again, line of sight is quite heavily blocked at the moment. The other Thanatar is going to try and take out the Tacticals that's currently contesting my objective. And the Castellax with the Archmagos Dominus are going to shoot everything they have and then make a charge into Autek Mor's squad with the Gorgon Terminators. Mechanicum shooting turn 4 so far has been really bad. The Castellax with Darkfire fire down on the Cataphractii Terminator command squad, managed to kill one of them and cause a wound on the standard bearer, but he's got 2 wounds. The Thanatar in the backfield fired a massive ranged blind shot all the way over at the Tactical Marines just to try and get a lucky hit and take them off, but as you can see, it scattered and completely missed them. The second Thanatar Plasma Mortar did exactly the same, full scatter, and unfortunately went 11 inches and scattered off the board, which was terrible. The Calyx Thanatar shot at the command squad to try and take the final wound off the command squad, but unfortunately failed to do so. The Iron Hands saving his invulnerable save. Which leads me to the last shooting of the turn, which is the Castellax with the Mauler bolt cannons and the multi-melters. So I fired 4 flamers and I've got 8 hits, and I need, they're strength 4, but because of the inviolate armor it takes them down to strength 3, so I need 5s to wound. So that's not too bad. Oh, actually that's pretty bad. So we've got 2 hits, so we need 2 up saves from the Terminators, which he passes, which is great. So now we have 2 multi-melters from the Castellax hitting on 3s. So both hit, and now 2s to wound, which I wound, great. So we need some invulnerables. Oh, 2 1s. Now Feel No Pain 5 up. Great. So
4 1s in a row. How rude is that?
So we killed 2 Terminators, which is great. And now we've got a Mauler bolt cannon hitting on 3s. And wounding on 3s because of strength 6 down to strength 5 because inviolate armor. So 1 2-up armor save. She passes, and the Dominus has a melter gun hitting on a 2, wounding on a 2, and then invulnerable of 5 up. Fail, Feel No Pain 5 up. Ooh, passed, nice. All that's left to do now is to make the charge, which we'll do in the assault phase. Turn for assault phase for Mechanicum. The HQ unit charged the Gorgon Terminators with Autek Mor. I took 1 wound coming in from Overwatch, but I contacted with 2 of the Castellax, so I've got Hammer of the Wrath, needing 2s to wound. I've got 2 wounds, so 2-up armor saves, which you make, which is great. And then the next highest initiative is Autek Mor.
So Autek Mor has 3 attacks. He has a Paragon Blade, which means he can strike out his initiative, which is 4. So he's hitting on 3s because he is weapon skill 6. So it's 3 hits, and he is strength 6. Unfortunately, it's just 1 wound. 6s would have been Murderous Strike, but unfortunately, I didn't get any of those.
Okay, cool. So
that's 1 wound at AP2.
1 wound at AP2. So I have a 3-up invulnerable, which I passed, which is great news. Next, because we charge for recover, we're all striking at initiative 1 now. So because it's my turn, I'll do my attack. 15 attacks from the Castellax, so 2 base, 2 for rage, and +1 for 2 close combat weapons, needing 4s to hit. Wow, that's not a bad roll, is it? That's not bad at all. So now we are strength 6 against toughness 4, so we need 2s to wound, which is pretty good. Wow, that's really good. So the Iron Hands have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 invulnerable saves to make on the 2 Gorgon Terminators. So needing 5s.
Probably should do these 2 at a time because it's going to go then on to Autek Mor, who has a 3-up invuln.
Okay.
So 2 at a time for the Terminators. So
oof, 2 5s, nice.
Another 5. So
1's dead. Oh no, so what you got? Feel no pain for that one.
Pain for that one. He fails, so there is 1 dead.
Yep.
Done 1 at a time now. So he's fine.
Keep going.
He's fine.
Wow. Oh.
That's it. Is it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That is impressive. Fantastic. Next up is the Archmagus Dominus in the challenge with Autek Mor. I need 4s to hit, of which I hit 3 times, which is great news. And now I'm only armed with a power weapon, unfortunately, but I'm strength 4 against toughness 4, so 5, sorry, so 5s to wound. So no wounds, unfortunately, which only then leaves me left with a Machinator array. I get 2 attacks at initiative 1, needing 4s to hit. Hit once, which is okay, and that is strength 5 with shred AP 2. So strength 5 against toughness 5 is 4, which is good. So just 1 AP 2.
So 3-up invuln for Autek Mor.
Oh, he's passed. Okay, that's fine. And now finally the Gorgons get to strike back before one of them dies.
Right. So if we do the hammer first, so the hammer bearer has 2 attacks hitting you on 4s.
It's 3s actually, sorry, 3s. So, yeah,
okay,
so 1 hit.
He's strength 8.
So 3s to wound.
So that's a wound, AP 2.
Cool, so 6 up invulnerable in combat, which I failed, so take a wound.
And then the power axe also has 2 attacks hitting on 3s. Oh, that's a cocked one. Nothing, 2 1s.
Oh, okay.
And lastly, at initiative step 1 is the servo arm from Autek Mor, who it's become strength 8, AP 2, unwieldy, so he goes last, but he is also hitting on 3s, which he misses.
Oh, now combat results. We both scored a wound each.
Yep.
So the combat is drawn and continues on into the next.
And we're both
phase.
fearless anyway. I think so.
A bit of a tough turn, really, for me. I'm not causing the damage that I thought I might be doing, unfortunately, which is a real shame. The combat it went okay. Obviously, I'm taking Archmagus Dominus, so it's nowhere near as good as Scoria. So I didn't expect him to do that well in combat. And one other thing that's worth mentioning as well is that because of the Gorgon Terminator armor, at the end of the phase, if the Gorgon Terminators take an invulnerable save, then or any saves for that matter, any saves for that matter in the turn, then on a roll of a 4+, everyone has to take a blind check within 4 inches. But unfortunately, the Iron Hands didn't roll a 4; they rolled a 1, so we didn't have to do that. But that's quite a nice game mechanic, causing blind to opponents in combat, which kind of helps them out a little bit. I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the Iron Hands next turn. I'm a little bit nervous, but I don't know. It's a tricky game.
So Iron Hands turn 4 movement. The what's left of the command squad has moved up. Try and close the space a bit. The Achilles Alpha has moved up to support him and has got a better line of fire on some targets on that side of the board. The command squad, or the Autek Mor with his Gorgons, are still locked in combat, but the Ironhand Tactical Squad has moved up to try and help out the Iron Father. The Quarters Contemptor has also moved up and is going to be looking to join that fight as well. Mastodon has rejigged, so I've got some line of sight on some of the Thanatars, although they've got quite a good cover save. The Rhino has moved up to support the Tactical Squad, which has moved itself into a position where he can try and finish off those thralls and secure that objective. Iron Hands turn 4 shooting phase. So we started off with the tactical squad down here, who shot their bolt pistols into the tech rolls, along with their rhino, and managed to kill 3 of those. So that should hopefully make that combat a little bit easier to do. We've moved up at the end of the movement phase, so these guys have not shot anything because they're looking to assault, but the Mastodon did fire its las cannon and its other weapon into the Thanatar, hiding in the building over there, and managed to take a wound off of it, which was quite nice. The Achilles Alpha didn't do so well with its blast this time, only managing to kill 2 of the Thralls that are holding that objective. But the Volkite with the deflagrate special rule did do some nice damage. We managed to kill quite a few of them. Unfortunately, they still hold the objective, so they didn't kill enough. They were running. Because they're fearless, they're still holding it. And the Cataphracti guy can't run because he's in Cataphracti, so he's still stuck out there in the open. So we're about to move on now to the assault phase, where hopefully we can do a bit more. Assault phase for the Iron Hands in turn 4. The Contemptor, Quartus Contemptor, made it in, and with the Rage special rule he has, is having an extra attack. But first off, he needs to do a Hammer of Wrath, so he is strength 6, so it doesn't wound.
So strength 6, toughness 7, needed a 5.
Needed 5, yeah.
Doesn't do anything.
So if we then look at the squad, the tactical squad that went in first, there is a sergeant in there with a power sword, and he has 4 attacks on the charge. So we do him first. There is then a further 27 attacks from the other guys, because I've given them all extra close combat weapon, and the Apolka 3 as well with a further 3, so there'll be 30 further attacks coming in. And then there's a Contemptor Dreadnought, and all of these and Autek Mor are all at initiative step 4, which is before, luckily, the Mechanicum get to strike back. So we do the sergeant first. He's hitting on 4s. 3s. Okay, so there's only one hit. And 6s. Nope, that's nothing. So 30 attacks, so 3 lots of 10, hitting on 3s, wounding on 6s. So hitting first. 8 hits, wounding on 6s. That is 2.
Okay, so I need 2 armor saves of 3 up. So I pass 1, fail 1, so 1 wound out to the Castellax.
Second set of 10, hitting on 3s, wounding on 6s, so 3s to hit. Oh, I could probably done with that the other way around.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it?
That's not bad, so that's 7. And wound on 6s. Yeah, just another 1.
Okay, so I need a 3 up armor save, which I pass.
And then the last 10, hitting on 3s. That's a little better, so that's another 8. And then wounded on 6s again. That's another 1. 2.
Okay, so 2. Another 3 ups, which I fail on. So the Castellax unit have taken 2 wounds so far. 3 wounds so far.
So the sergeant next, he has 4 attacks on the charge. He has a power sword, so he's AP 3, but he's still hitting on 3s. That's 2 hits, and he's still wounding on 6s. No. Next up is the Contemptor Quartus with Rage. He has 3 attacks base plus 2 for the charge. He is hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits, and he's strength 10, so he's wounding on 2s at AP 2. So that's 2 wounds.
Oh, so Castellax gets 6 up invulnerable in combat, which I say 1 take 1. So I have currently taken 4 wounds at the moment. But now is finally my turn to strike back. So this is all happening at initiative 4, which is good news for me. So I will get 9 attacks back. So 2 base and plus 1 for 2 close combat weapons. And I'm going to split my attacks. I'm going to have 2 Castellax into the squad and 1 Castellax into the Gorgon Terminators. So the first into the squad, needing 4s. Not bad, 4 hits. And strength 6, strength 6, AP 2. So that's 4 AP 2 wounds down on the squad.
So they have a 5 up, feel no pain for the Apolka 3. Of which I make 1.
Great news. So three of the Marines die. The next up, the last Castellax at the Gorgon Terminator. So only one hit, unfortunately. 2 to wound, and then a 5-up invulnerable. Failed, followed by a 5-up for no pain. Passed. Nice.
Hangs in there. So we've got Autek Mor now just to go in the challenge. Also at initiative step 4. He has 3 attacks with his Paragon Blade. So he's hitting on 3s. So that's 3 hits. So he is strength 6. But 6s are instant death. So needing 4s to wound. Oh, 2 wounds, but no 6s.
Okay. So Archmage Dominus has a 3-up invulnerable, which I passed quite comfortably. And now it's his turn to strike back. So I've got 2 base, +1 for 2 close combat weapons, hitting on 4s, should get 2 hits. And I'm strength 4 against toughness 4. 5, sorry. So no wounds, unfortunately.
Okay.
And then I have initiative 1 attacks.
Yep, I've got a Hammer Bearer at initiative 1 as well with 2 attacks.
Okay.
So he's hitting on 3s.
Into the Castellax, right?
Yeah, this into the Castellax unit, yeah.
Yep.
So 2 hits, and he is strength 8. So that is 2 wounds at AP 2.
Okay, so I need 6s for invulnerables. No, so I lose 2 wounds with on the Castellax in combat with the Gorgon Terminator.
And then we both got you've got a Machinator Ray, I've got a Servo Arm.
Yes.
So the Servo Arm hits you on a 3 from Autek Mor, but a 1 misses.
Fantastic. So the Machinator Ray strikes now, 4s to hit, 1 hit, and it's strength 5 with shred. So that wounds, and it's AP 2.
So 3-up invulnerable, saved.
Oh man, cannot touch Autek Mor at the moment.
These two guys in the challenge are slugging it out. Right, so after the end of that turn, we're still locked in combat in the middle. Although I did 7 wounds to the Mechanicum's 4, they are fearless, so we're still locked in combat. Not going anywhere at the moment. I rolled to see whether my Quartus Contemptor took a wound because the overcharge that he does to get the rage rule, but I didn't roll a 6, so he's fine. And I got unsuccessfully any wounds back on the Mastodon or Void Shields, so that's still on 1 Void Shield and 1 hull point, rather than wound, sorry. Hanging in there, but that's probably because nobody's shot at him much lately.
Mechanicum turn 5, and potentially the last turn of the game. So one great thing that's happened in this turn is I've scored 1 victory point with the Tech Thralls on the container objective there, which is great news. The Castellax with Darkfire Cannon. Oh man, there's not a lot to shoot with those guys, but I'm going to try and snipe the last few remaining shots on the Mastodon. If I can take that this turn, I'll be really happy. So I'm probably going to use a lot of Cybertheurgy to double shot all of their shots. The Castellax, the 2 Thanatar with Plasma Waters have lined up a great shot of the tactical Marines in the building there. I need to clear them off that objective so they don't score a point next turn. The Thanatar with the Solex Las Cannon has lined up the last remaining command squad. He's only got 1 wound left, so he might be able to just pick him off with that Las Cannon. And then obviously in the centre of the table, we've got a massive combat there. I'm not too worried about if I lose the Castellax or the Archmage Dominus because it's holding the Iron Hands off the objective and it's not scoring while they're tying them up in combat. So I'm quite pleased with that. So this next turn is just going to be damage limitation. But, you know, it might be enough to stave off the Iron Hands scoring points in the next turn, but we'll find out. Mechanicum turn 5 shooting phase. So the Thanatar with the Solex Las Cannon is going to try and pick off the final Terminator command squad member. So he's going to start off with his Solex, see if he can do it in 1 shot. He needs a 2 to hit. He hits. It's strength 10 AP 1. AP 2, sorry. Oh, and he rolls a 1. So that won't do it. Next up then, he's got a twin link mortar bolt cannon hitting on 2s. All hit. Strength 6, but strength 5 because of the inviolate armour. So I need 3s to wound. 3 wounds. So 3 saves for the Terminator. Oh, he doesn't do it. I don't do it.
Hanging in there.
He is. Next up is the Castellax with Darkfire Cannon. It's a bit of a long shot, but we're going to try and go Mastodon hunting. I'd love to take this down for the game. So what I've done is I've tried to double shot the two Castellax with Darkfire Cannon that can see the Mastodon. One was successful, one failed. So I've got a total of 6 shots. The Mastodon will get a 3+ cover save, but with a -1 for the enhanced target rate, it's a 4+ cover save. So we need quite a bit of luck for this to actually work. So first of all, the lead Castellax has only got 2 shots, needing 2s, which I pass. And the guy at the back has got 4 shots, needing 2s. We'll go 6s, we need that next turn. He fails 1 for the gets hot, so he needs a save, and he fails, so he takes a wound. But now I've got 5 lance shots on the side of the Mastodon. I need 5 to glance, 6 to pen. Oh, and I don't do a single thing. It was worth the try. Mechanicum, turn 5, shooting and assault phase. We're going to roll this all into one because not really much happened, unfortunately. So apart from the appalling shooting from the Thanatar Calyx and the Castellax with Darkfire Cannon, I then moved on to the two Thanatar with Plasma Mortars, and I tried shooting at the tactical squad in the building to try and clear them off the objective. But I took 5 Marines down between the 2 of them, which was a little bit unfortunate, but I just couldn't get them off the objective. So in the Iron Hands turn 5, they're going to score a point, which is a shame, really. And then we'll go straight over to the assault phase. So we've done this already. Not a lot happened. Castellax finally killed the last Gorgon Terminator. Autek Mor and my Archmagos Dominus just stood there and just flailed at each other. Nothing happened. I killed a TAC Marine, but the Contemptor Cortis caused 3 wounds on my Castellax. So both Castellax models now only have 1 wound remaining.
Turn 5 movement for the Iron Hands. The command squad in Cataphractii armour can't run and is way out of range of doing anything useful, probably even till about turn 10. And as he keeps getting shot at, he's been very brave and he's hidden back inside the Land Raider. The Land Raider itself, the Achilles, has moved up to try and get more of a shot on the Darkfire guys that are causing a bit of aggro. The Mastodon has remained where it is because it's still got some shots on the Thanatar and can't really get in range with its 12-inch melter to do anything. I can at least try and support this melee that's going on in the middle. The Rhino has moved back into cover again to try and stop some attrition points more than anything else. And the tactical squad have consolidated their position on that objective and have moved into cover again to try and stop themselves from getting shot at with some nasty stuff. Iron Hands turn 5 shooting. The Achilles Alpha managed to shoot into the Castellax and take a wound off the lead guy. Moving to the Mastodon, he shot at that Thanatar and managed to take 2 wounds. The terrain there saving him from being destroyed. And then into the combat. You see there's a bit more of a gap there than there was before. So we managed to get rid of the Castellax, the Contemptor doing a number of wounds as and a couple from the tactical squad. Unfortunately, as one of the Castellax went down, he swung his arm up and managed to kill the Contemptor.
Smash attack!
Smash attack, 1 hit, 6/6 followed by 6, and boom, off he went. No further wounds caused to anyone else in the resulting explosion.
Yep.
And everyone has just piled in, and I think Autek Mor and your Dominus have basically just been swinging and slugging at each other and just clanging off each other's armour. No one's actually done any wounds to anybody in that fight.
Very good, have they?
No, they've been pretty ineffective actually, apart from just tying each other up all game. That's it.
That's
it. So
it's been a bit of a prickly game, I think. But we've both had 5 turns. And now we roll to see if we get a 6th turn. So obviously Peter's our guest today, so he will get to roll the dice. So do you want to use a Mechanicum one or your own one?
Let's see if the Iron Hands can let me down one more time.
All right. So on a 4-up, we get turn 6.
We don't.
Oh, so it's turn 5.
Well done.
Thank you for the
Thank you
game.
very much. Thanks for the game.
And we'll come back to you with the victory points. Right, guys, here we are. Welcome back. The battle has ended. The Mastodon has survived. It smashed through the city, disgorged its troops, and the robots have been slinging firepower down, but to no avail. But the final score was 7 to the Mechanicum, 3 to the Iron Hand. So, a good victory for the Mechanicum. Now, I personally put that down to Thralls on objectives
from turn 1.
Early turn, turn 1. So I think in the first 2 turns I got 4 points.
Yeah.
And then 5, 6, 7, 3 points later. So I think I did really well with them.
Yeah, I couldn't. This is one of the difficulties I guess I have. I couldn't get the guys out of the transport because with all that nasty AP2 stuff you're flinging around, they wouldn't have made it to anywhere.
Yeah.
Conversely, that means they weren't scoring any objectives until I could get them in a position where they could.
Yes.
So that didn't help, but it's the nature of the beast, I guess. They were going to die if I marched them up the board.
Yep.
So I had to do that, but yeah, it definitely made the difference, I think. But
which makes a change really, because I struggle with Dominion missions, and I think maybe because of perhaps the threat of the AP2 coming in your end and just the way the terrain was, I think I got away with it quite nicely really. So it's quite lucky.
15 turns I would have been fine.
Yeah, I reckon easy. So we've brought some models out in front of us now. We'll start with you, Peter. You brought your Land Raider Achilles out.
Yeah, the Achilles Alpha. I did think about the Autek Mor, but just surviving and not dying doesn't really make him a great unit. He didn't die, but neither did he do much.
No.
So I don't think we can bring him. Whereas this guy has actually earned his points.
Yeah.
He took the Thralls, most of them off the objective, and whistled quite a few points. He was consistent, I think, is the way. He wasn't outstanding, but he was definitely consistent.
One thing I noticed about that was because it's got what's the special rule? It's got the ferrum something or other.
Oh yes, the ferromantic rights.
Yes. So
armour rights, which means it's
good.
It's quite survivable. It didn't happen, but if you'd have got an explode result on him, you're at -1 to the strength of AP stuff.
Okay, that's interesting.
So AP2 becomes AP dash, AP1 becomes AP2.
Nice.
So it all helps to try and keep it there, and particularly against your lance, I think.
Well, I was about to say, I mean, I didn't even bother with it because my lance has an effect, and you saw in the game there, I struggled to roll 5 and 6s. I think the only decent turn of shooting I had when I shot the Sakaran and took it out in a turn, but after that, I think the unit was just so poor for me, so poor.
Yeah.
And
I was glad about that, to be fair.
No, I'm sure you were. So I think what we're going to have to do now is I'm going to have to retire the Darkfire and replace it with the 3 Voltarax, which I've got on the painting table. They're half done, so hopefully they'll get done next. But the Darkfire, Land Raiders, Mastodons, Knights, always a problem for me. So I think I have to get rid of them in place of the Voltarax. But the Achilles did huge amounts of damage, I think.
Yeah, I think it deserves his place on the table, I think, for being that consistent cornerstone of what they were doing.
And I think that's the first Achilles Alpha I've ever faced as well, and in the last 3 years of 30k. So
yeah, they're not that popular. They don't have the high strength stuff. They don't have the las cannons that normal ones do.
Yeah.
But they're I quite like them. They're quite flexible and better, particularly against things like creatures where you haven't got high armour.
Yeah.
That's probably where they come into their own a bit better, perhaps, than against other armoured lists. Yeah,
it was pretty good, pretty effective. And as you can see, I brought Mr. Thanatar Calyx. If it wasn't for Cybertheurgy, I don't think he would be here. He did a great job on the Leviathan because obviously I could have boosted his initiative, attacks, or regain wounds. So I obviously did the wounds and the attacks, which really helped. But if I didn't have that mechanic, then I think you would have slaughtered him.
I think on his own, I think he would have struggled. But yeah, he was kept up.
He did all right.
What helped, I think, most against Leviathan is that blind and the concussive.
Yeah.
That really shut him down.
Yeah.
Right from the start, which I think made a huge difference. And some of that was down to him. Some of that was down to the other stuff, the Darkfire.
Yeah, again,
one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to intercept you when you're.
Yes, the drop pod came in.
Yeah, when the Leviathan came down, I said to Peter, I'm gonna intercept with my dark fire, and then we went through a whole turn. And at the end of it, I went, oh, God damn it, I forgot this. I forgot to do that. But in the later turns, in the second turn, I think it was. Obviously, I got the lance hit on you, and I got the blind result, which was great from the dark fire. And then the flamer template on this caused the concussive, so that really boosted him. So I was quite pleased. But he'd finally done something. He didn't do much in the shooting phase.
No.
But he was all right in combat, so I was quite pleased with that. But it's been a great game.
Yeah, it's been a good day.
Peter, thank you so much for coming. You know, Peter's come work from Swindon to come and see us, and he's put on a great show for us and brought his lovely iron hands. And also, just before we were setting up for the interview, Peter said to me, he goes, "Oh, I'm going to start doing some painting." I went, what do you mean? So you're going to do some sort of painting service, aren't you?
Yeah, I've set up a website to try and offer some of my better than average, depending on how you look at it, painting services to people out there.
Okay.
I figured I enjoy doing it, so you know, I may as well try and do something else with it. So artificerstudios.com is probably worth a look. Also on Facebook as well, if you Artificer Studios.
We'll put some links up in the description below, and the name will be on the bottom of the screen right now, so you guys can see that. So if you've got a lot of resin at home and you can't be bothered to paint it, or you're stuck for time, then I'm sure Peter would love to do it for you. So give him a message and see what he can do for you.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Now, we had intended to take loads and loads of photos of the game, but we got a bit carried away, and we had a new cameraman in today. So Joseph, who plays the World Eaters, he came to cameraman for us today. So hopefully he's done a good job. I guess we'll find out when I review the footage, but I'm sure it's fine. But we forgot to take some photos, but I will try and pull some from the footage and put them on the Facebook page when it goes live. So that all that remains to be said is please stay tuned for the army showcase at the end. You know, we can have a better look at the Mechanicum and the Iron Hands. And Peter, we would love to have you back.
No, I'd love to come back. It's been a good day. Been good fun.
Great stuff.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for the invite.
No, pleasure. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And hopefully we'll try and get Peter in some Zone Mortalis maybe. That would be pretty cool. But as I say, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next game.